Well, maybe, just maybe, this is working. Excuse me. So let me roll that over there. Stephen, hello, sir. Javier, yes, that is Metallica. I made that for last week's live chat and just used it again for this week. That is my favorite lyrics of any song ever written. Like that one little section of line there. Don't know why. It always pops in my head. Joe Pastilli, hello, sir. So rare Thursday night live chat. I know you're like, it ain't that fucking rare, Gary. You've been doing it a bunch. Depends on the schedule. And yesterday was most people's big holiday of the season, so it didn't seem like a great time to bother doing a live chat, so I moved it to today. However, I have a bunch of gear staged downstairs in my dining room to go grab and skedaddle out of here when the live chat is over. Nods and rifles and stuff, so that's all happening. Tom Hollaby, hello, sir. Javier, hello. Apparently, we are back on YouTube. Or not YouTube. We've been on YouTube. Apparently, we are back on Facebook. Some pictures of blasters got us restricted, and they never told us. So I kept getting errors when I would try to schedule a live event on Facebook. And as it turns out, with a whole pile of digging, 17 layers deep, I see, oh, you can't go live until December 25th. So maybe it'll work. And today I added it and it worked. So apparently we're live on the book face. Also, Restream, the company I use for splitting up that signal to go to a bunch of different places, is now compatible easily with Rumble. You could do Rumble before, but you had to do like API keys or some bullshit and have like Rumble open on a different window, which is how you have to do like Telegram and Instagram, all the grams. So I don't bother with those. And Instagram is a fucking pile of shit for video service. It is not a good platform for broadcasting videos on. Never has been, never claimed to be. And so fuck all that. Let's do what I haven't done is added the overlay of the chat. There we go. So that everybody can see it regardless of which platform they are commenting on. Looks like everybody's doing YouTube so far that commented. And I don't know about like Rumble's comments. Because I don't even know if it's actually fucking on Rumble. I think I got it set up. So if anybody rumbles, let me know. Tom Hollyby, I just now saw your message, Facebook Messenger. I don't Facebook message very much, which is probably why I didn't see it. When did you send it? It's like 6:52, like 2 hours or like an hour ago. Sorry. Anywho, today's live chat is brought to you by, let me go this way, Ammo Supply Warehouse. You can get all of your bullets over there. And you can use the coupon code TREMIS10, and it'll save you $10 off of any order over $100. Now, it doesn't mean if you buy $1,000, you get $100 off. It literally means if you spend more than $100 and use that code, you'll get $10 off. That's it. So it says here that my comment's been posted to both Facebook and YouTube. So apparently Rumble and X, it doesn't do that for. So I don't know. 8-Lug Garage says he sees a Midwest party toy in this live chat. Indeed, behind me is the Tremis Dynamic Signature Rifle. See if I can't do this. Throw that up there for you guys. Hey, look, it automatically put a link up to Ammo Supply Warehouse. I'm going to put another link up to that particular rifle. That is right there. And you can use the coupon code TREMIS, just TREMIS, TREMIS, and get 10% off of that rifle. It is a signature edition rifle available direct from Midwest Industries. So if you're looking for a Tremis Dynamic Signature rifle, there's a spot to get one. I had somebody mention to me yesterday during our workshop. We had a wrong-handed workshop for our Yule training day. I had somebody mention to me that like there was a little kerfluffle or something over on Combat Art Training's Instagram page, and guys were like, "I'm an expert, and I tell you, this is my take on this thing." And one of the dudes yesterday goes, "Yeah, I followed along with that. I didn't see any of them motherfuckers with a signature rifle from a major manufacturer." And I was like, "Yeah, all right, well, good point." Oh, 8 Lug Garage is Gabe. All right, cool beans, dude. I think you got one of those puppies at your house too. And I do believe that it is getting a free upgrade on Sunday. A little something for it, because just as a thanks for hooking or for buying one of them, I'm actually going to make I'm going to talk about that next Wednesday on the live chat. And some more people, if they buy a signature rifle, I'm going to throw something extra in for them. I mean, you already get like some stickers and a patch and that kind of thing, plus a coupon for a free fucking class that comes with the rifle. And I'm going to throw a little something else in, and Becky will be the first person to get the something. And then I'm going to make a post about it and talk about it next week's live chat. And I'm going to offer it for a limited time for anybody that buys a rifle. Mr. Fiore, hello, sir. Bastilli says the comment section gave him cancer. Not my replies, but the dude I was talking with, Black Hat or something. I guess he's a bad guy. So anyhow, I offered that fellow, unknown, completely unknown to everyone. Like no real name associated with what he does, his Instagram handle, no idea if it's a dude or a chick or any of that. But I offered a spot on tonight's live chat and said, "Hey, I got a spot. You can have it. Like, come on and debate your stuff." And oh, he never wanted to do it. Like after saying, "Let's get on a live and I'll debate you and show you how stupid you are." I'm like, "All right, cool. I got one I do every week and you can have a slot on it." And, come on over. "Well, I want to do it on an Instagram live. I offered you a live. Let's get me, you, and 73 other people you've never heard of to do a live." I'm like, "All right, dude, I have a weekly live. You can come get on it." That I would not offer. I've never offered a guest spot to someone that I don't know. But you can have it. Come on over. Zip, crickets. So, no, Tom, nobody else ever said anything to me about, "I'll be on your live stream." They may have still stomped their feet saying, "I'll do an Instagram live. I'm like, all right, but Instagram is not a video hosting platform and it sucks fucking dick at it. But I would have put them on here, and it allows anybody, as long as I share them the link, that they can simulcast on anything they want, including Instagram, where it formats it incorrectly at a super low like bit rate or whatever. So it's stupid as shit. But he could have, but no, it never approached me about it. Like I've done some Instagram live, usually while driving, and been like, "Hey, quick update, blah 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 blah." That's about all it's good for. It's like making a live reel. It is not like good for video hosting. All right. What if I click that right there? So, regardless, we can talk about the subject, the big overarching subject of that particular issue over there. So guys were talking, and I think some of them were cosplaying that they were part of the training industry when they're really part of the training community. In theory, I can't prove they're part of the training community either, but they talk like someone from the training community while pretending to be part of the training industry. So, because there's generally like the big gun community, some people will talk about a gun culture, and that's kind of like a subsect of the community, like that. Like the idea behind calling it a culture, I use the terms interchangeably, but the folks that are stress the word culture over community, um, it is a small section of the gun community that is more hyper focused on natural rights than the actual tools. And so there's the gun community, the gun industry, and that is the people who serve the gun community. In theory, folks in the gun industry are part of the gun community, but that's rarely the case in a large company. The smaller the company, the more likely it is that the gun industry is part of the gun community. They, actually like guns and go use them and stuff. But when you get it to larger corporations, like for instance, Smith & Wesson, who I'm a big fan of a lot of their products, they have a no gun policy on their property. They obviously are not part of the gun community. They are just part of the gun industry. So anyhow, set that information aside, and now we go to training. The training community is people that go and train, oftentimes with guns, oftentimes without. Like a dude that goes and does BJJ and doesn't shoot, he's still part of the training community. He just trains a different martial art, but he takes his progression of skills as the priority, not who makes the coolest fucking rash guard, which would be part of that gear community type thing, the equivalent of the gun community. So anyhow, there is the training community, and that is where students go train. Sometimes they're guys that train once a year, or as often as they can afford, or whatever. They dip their toe in the training community, and then there's like the full blown training junkies. Like those guys are heavily involved in the training community. And then there's the training industry. And that's dudes who serve the training community, like the industry gives them the product. And those people have a certain responsibility that the community does not have. So if you're in the training community and you go take classes on how to do things, you're assuming that the instructor that you have has indeed put in inordinate amounts of time and effort to make sure everything he's telling you works when it's pressure tested. You pay him to do that so that you don't have to go do that. So you could say, hey, there's 5 different techniques to perform this one action. I will go spend 40 hours on the range doing each one of them. So that's 200 man hours of my life to figure out which one holds up best when someone's physically trying to prevent me from accomplishing it. That's pressure, not emotional pressure, like physical pressure. Someone is mechanically trying to prevent you from performing a task. Pressure. The industry is supposed to do all that for you. It's one of the main things you're paying them to do. Like, hey, I have a method for, fixing a type 9 malfunction. Great. There's 2 other methods. Your instructor should have put in inordinate amount of time to all of those to figure out which one works in which situations best, and then base their curriculum off that. Somebody in the training community is going to say, I was taught this is the method that I do. I paid a guy hundreds of dollars to do that work for me. Now, I think some folks, more than one, people in that thread of disasterness are in that training community and go, this is the way I was taught and it is the best. And have never done all the work to debunk it. So every block of instruction that you teach, you should have put in 100 man hours of time to prove it wrong. And then when you can't, all right, that's ready to go. And if you haven't done that, you're not really in the training industry. You're just a dude who talks about things he's probably seen on the interwebs. And then I see some people who pretend they're in the training industry. They'll have a class, like an 8-hour class that's on the draw stroke. Okay, so we've got one block of instruction that you're going to teach for 8 hours. Probably you should get a guy to show a lot of progression in his skills if you're going to do one thing for 8 hours. Now, is that a waste of his money? You know it, because he could have got the instruction in the first hour, paid for an hour's worth of instruction, and then went and spent 7 hours of his own time working on it. But instead, he paid somebody else to watch him for 7 extra hours working on it, instead of learning something else he could go work on by himself. I have a theory behind that as well. So, but my point is, if you do an 8-hour class on the draw stroke, every conceivable draw variant that is out there in the world, you should have 100 hours in before you teach the draw stroke. So like if you say, hey, when I draw, like the gun comes up straight to like a high pectoral index and rotates. Okay, you should have done that for 100 hours. And if you say, hey, I think you should go straight line from point A to point B, like at an angle, okay, you should have 100 hours of working on that with pressure, not just a timer. There's no time doesn't add pressure. If you take 5 seconds or 40 seconds, nothing stops you from finishing it because it took too long. Pressure would be a resisting opponent. Instead of imagining that he gets to shoot me if I take too long, we'll know if you take too long. We'll know if he can put hands on the gun. So all of that is your job as part of the training industry, is to say, there's a place I want my students to be. I know of 4 paths to get there. I will become, I don't want to say an expert because that implies some sort of third-party certification. I will become very well versed in all 4 of these paths, and then make a decision on which path I will teach. And so when you have an instructor, someone in the training industry, who says, here is the method that I teach, if you, not while he's teaching that, but in that break area, or when, hey, do you have any questions? If you ask about one of those other methods, he's going to instantly be able to tell you why he chose the one that he chose. And that pretty much is like what you paid him to do, was sort all that out before you ever fucking met him. So that is kind of like where I was looking at that whole thread from, was there are people in the training community that didn't put the work in to really be part of the industry, but pretend that I teach people. And one dude I was told that one of the guys in that thread said that Andrew charges like a ridiculous amount of money for classes. And I don't know if that guy actually teaches classes or just pretends that he does, but I don't know what anybody considers to be too much. When I joined the training community in 2004-ish, the going rate for a training day was $200. So a 2-day class was $400. A 3-day class was $600. That was in like 2004, 2005. I'm going to say now that is in like 2015 or so, it was $250. and now it is currently over $300. That is the industry standard pricing is, say, $300 a training day. I've seen what Andrew charges for classes, and like he traveled, I don't know, 8 states away to teach a class that was way under the industry standard. So I assume that Home Slice, when he says that Andrew's classes were expensive, and I don't know where he said that because I didn't see it in the thread. That was told to me by a third party who found it somewhere, and I'm assuming that guy has such low quality product to sell that he was like, well, I can never get that, so everybody else must be charging too much. Okay, sure, whatever. So when you have an instructor who says you should never shoot left-handed, or you should not shoot on the move, or you should not shoot on the move left-handed, that instructor fucking better have put in hundreds of hours of shooting on the move left-handed to tell you, no, it doesn't work. When I have people shooting at me and I do this technique, I cannot collect any data that says that's success. And if he's tried it once and it didn't work, and he's like, I'm just not going to do it. Okay, dude, but you're not an instructor because you didn't put the fucking work in to tell your students why your method is the best. You just found a method, fucking clung onto it for dear life, and stomp your feet when anybody says, hey, I can do something better. Now, I did find the black hat guy. What was interesting about him was he kept threatening, like, I'll show you with force on force and a fucking round to your fucking face, fucker. And I'm like, that's a threat? You know, those things don't hurt, right? Like, you can't injure somebody with those if you use them correctly. I mean, I guess if you go fucking beat somebody with one, like just take it and, start punching them in the face with a sim gun, that's a threat. I'm like, you're offering to help somebody else pressure test stuff. Dude, that's the nicest thing you can do for someone. Why are you acting like you're such a fucking macho stud because you've shot a sim gun once in your life? I've taken out business loans to buy sim ammo so that we could shoot more of it. Like, come on, man. It's the best thing you can do for someone is to participate in force on force with them. But you're going to act like it's some sort of macho threat thing. Okay. I guess that's one way to do it. Look at it, I guess. It's not a valuable training tool. It's just how we pretend to beat up on folks or something. He's probably that guy who goes to the paintball field with his $2,000 gun and shoots all the kids, 13-year-old kids at birthday parties. And I was like, show you who's fucking tough. Brawr. So yeah, that was my hot take on all that. And I offered the black hat guy an opportunity to be here tonight to debate. And I kept saying it and he never said, yeah, let's do it. And maybe because he'd had to use his real name and not wear a mask or, hide behind an internet persona. People struggle with that a lot. I don't know if that dude does, but it's very common on the interwebs. Yeah, that was my notes. That's all I really had for the day. So I don't think anyone posted any questions either. So bear with me. I have to go open the book face and see if questions were posed. It does say I'm live right now, which is pretty awesome. That hasn't happened on Facebook for like a month. Let's see. There's actually kind of two threads because I made an event page for the YouTube live before they offered me or allowed me to come back to Bookface. So apparently there's no questions over there either. So that's fine. I'm rolling down here through my notes. My notes that get like there's notes in there from like 5 live chats ago that I just never updated. So you'll have to bear with me there. Yeah, nope. All right. Nothing on the note section. Let me go see the other live chat. This is the one I'm actually broadcasting in and see if there's anything in the discussion there for questions to answer today. And no, does not appear so. All right, awesome. Let's make sure I don't miss anything that people wanted. All right, so Mr. Foreskin says he asked me a question on Signal. Well, I'll check Signal when I'm done. Once I sit down in front of this thing to get it all set up, I stop signaling. I will check that out here shortly and maybe answer you. Stephen, do you normally carry your Vortex monocle in your chest rig? So in my chest rig, I have a flashbang pouch over on the right side that fits the monocular. And the monocular has a home inside of my assault pack. It can get moved to that pouch. If that is the thing I'm more likely to need than a flashbang in that pouch. Like I would swap them around, but that pouch it's my dual purpose pouch, because if I need a flashbang, that probably doesn't mean I'm somewhere where I also need a 10 power monocular to look at things with, and vice versa. So that pouch is designated for either of those two items. So if I'm out and about in the woods where a flashbang would do no fucking good, the monocular goes in there. If we are doing room clearing stuff, that monocular finds its way back to a pack and a flashbang goes in that pouch. And it is a Eagle flashbang pouch. Like, just like a plain old like Ranger green, fucking $9 off eBay flashbang pouch. And it holds both of them. No more cool drone sightings. I have not been out and about in the evenings with night vision to look, but guess where I'm going when this live shot is over? Out and about with night vision. So if I have any more drone sightings, I will take a gander. I'll let y'all know. Ain't bothering with video. All right. Let's see. Jerry says, I asked the goopy stuff you put on your M&P after you trimmed it. It was a black epoxy. I no longer remember what type of epoxy it was. I want to say it had the word maritime in it, in that it would still stick even if there was some wetness present. But I can't promise that I bought that for that gun, because I cut that down back in literally like the day the 2.19 came out and I could get a 15 round magazine. So it was a few years back. So I can't necessarily remember. Actually, I used it before I cut it down, because I took the back strap off and threw it away and filled all the gaps and stuff. So I think I was still at tactical response when I cut it, or when I filled it and then ground it with a 40 grit flapper wheel on a 4-inch grinder to like shape it the way I wanted. I cut it down a few years later. So I had already epoxied it. But it wasn't epoxy, and whatever it was, it doesn't stipple. Like when you hit it with the soldering pencil, like nothing happens. So if you're going to stipple, it ain't the shit. If you sugar cookie it, it's fine. Steven says you're looking into radio options and a way to hold a smoke. So radio, I think the best radio pouch fucking made was the YMI tactical one, because it fit everything and it fit it well. If you're using the Retivus Ale Ounce, what a fucking dorky ass name. It's got a little more size to it, and the embiter pouches work okay for that. Smoke, there are smoke pouches out there. A bunch of companies make smoke grenade pouches. Any of those will work. Guys talking about the NRA instructor cert. Yeah, it is not very valuable as an instructor and your ability to have things to teach. It is valuable in that most insurance companies are looking for some sort of validation that you know something about instructing, and they view that one as like the gold standard. A lot of them now also accept USCCA. A few will accept numerous things, but not all of them do that. And like, I don't know if any of them, like if you do like the range master certifications, that they take that, although those are way better than like NRA or USCCA, but I don't get it. Mike says that Spectre Gear makes an HD2 pouch and it's legit. I have run a few Spectre Gear pouches years ago. They were fine pouches, super heavy duty. Like everything was like 1,000 denier Cordura when it doesn't need to be, but they may have updated that and start running like actual pliable material. When I bought stuff from them, like, so this was probably 2012, 2013. And I'm like, hey, they don't even make shit in multicam. Like they had olive drab, khaki, and black. And I was like, yeah, that's none of those colors need to be on gear. I assume that they have probably gotten, like they should now offer all of the cool camos. Garrett Matson, what is it you like about the Range Master instructor classes? Well, mostly because Tom Givens is an actual instructor, unlike most NRA training counselors. And instead of there being like a large corporation that you need to placate with your curriculum, Tom needs to placate Tom with Tom's curriculum. So it is what he looks for out of what an instructor should be doing. And there's more in it about instructoring than just what many people do with like, hey, my instructor class will have you come demonstrate your ability to shoot, and that's all we do. Which there doesn't even need to be shooting in an instructor class. If you have some way to vet that the people there know how to shoot. Admittedly, in some instructor class, like, I don't know this guy from Adam, so we'll have him go shoot. But it should not be predominantly the instructor students shooting. Should not be the point of the class. Now, if you need someone to be shooting so that the instructor students have someone to instruct, great. You can have the instructor students be shooting. Or what you could do is get other folks who want a free training day to come out and just be students, and then allow your instructor students to train actual students. Like that's one way to do it. Like it requires a little more logistics because you have to get a bunch of people to come out to be students in a class. And also I understand that if you're like doing a traveling class, like, I don't know if I can find a bunch of students to come out and that want to accept free training for the day. At some point, probably in 2025, later in the year, like when it's cooling down, there will be a Tremis Dynamics 3-day instructor class, 2.5 days. It's like Friday afternoon through the evening, all day Saturday, all day Sunday. And on Sunday, the instructor students will go teach some regular folks who just want to come get some training instead of teaching each other. You know, what it's really easy to do is to teach someone who's an awesome shooter how to do something. You know why? Because they're already an awesome shooter. You're probably teaching them something that they already know and might even already be teaching. So Lane says she'll take free. Yes, I think he or she, the thumbnail's really small. Says she'll take free training. Good. Actually, we just did some of that yesterday too. I will talk about that in a minute. But yeah, we're going to bring some students out who just want to get like a half-day training class, like in the Sunday afternoon. And that'll probably happen this year. I got to get some dates sorted out with the local club because I want to have a classroom that's indoors right adjacent to a range. Because I want to bounce back and forth between the two a number of times. So I don't want to be like a classroom day and then a range day where we, drive somewhere else, or like, at lunchtime we drive. I'd rather be able to back and forth. And have the classroom portion not be outdoors where it is sometimes gets in the way of learning things with noise and weather and that kind of shit. Oh, well, Lane, sorry that you had to grow up with Gabe, but you're probably a stronger person for it. That's a joke. Like, I like to poke fun at folks, so please don't think that I'm dissing on your brother. I like Gabe. So that'll probably happen. I know we got off on a fucking tangent there. Gary, did you order a red dot? Which one? I actually did order a red dot. I ordered a rifle red dot from Primary Arms that was on a Blem sale so that I could put it on a sim gun that I kept moving a couple optics around as needed. And I just bought one to stick on a sim rifle and leave it there. Haven't even taken it out of the box yet. I know that's not what you were asking. But yes, so there is a red dot here, and it is not for a pistol. I missed the question up there. Have you ranted on competition as the closest thing to a gunfight yet? No. And I wasn't going to get that far, just because I thought the larger problem was people who think they're in the training industry not putting in the work. And if that problem were solved, it would sort out the competition as the closest thing to a gunfight yet. Which I think is more of a symptom of the problem than the problem itself. Andrew, I didn't get to look at those comments. How lively were they? Weren't many comments because not many people watched. So that must have been one of the YouTube response videos, retorts or something. I guess there was more than one. I did listen to the first one while I was off doing something else. And I don't remember that comment, but maybe it was in there. I don't know. Anyhow. All right, let me get my mouse over here where it's supposed to be. All right. Okay, I finally did go dig up the Spectre gear. And I'm looking at their newest products, and I don't know if they're using 500 near Cordura yet, but all of their product designs are very much 2005. So they might not have updated that either, the materials, because the designs certainly are not remotely modern. But they do have radio pouches for a ton of different radios. And I'm just in the new gear, not even looking at the tactical comms gear. Molly radio pouches. I can't believe they still make belt mounted pouches. And I think I have my Yaesu. I have a Yaesu pouch, maybe even more than one from Spectre Gear for my VX6Rs. Guess what? I also don't use them. Like they're on like backup things because the YMI pouch is so much better. God damn, Garrett, that's the best question I've ever been asked on a live stream. Like, bless you. What is your methodology when creating drills or teaching blocks in classes? So, at the big level, at the macro level, I'll call it, there is a point that I would like students to be. At the end of this class, I want them to be able to do this one thing this well, or these couple things at a certain level of proficiency, which won't be awesome. It'll be safe and understanding what to work on when they go home. Then I work backwards from that. Well, if I want them to do this, what do they got to do to be able to do that? How well do they have to shoot? How quickly do they have to get their draw? Whatever the things are. And then you go backwards. Like you can't say, I have this drill in mind and I want them to be able to do it with this level of accuracy at this speed with this much movement, and then never teach them how to get the gun out of the holster and just be like, well, when you come here, you should know how to draw. If that's the case, you have to have a class where you teach them the draw as a prerequisite to this other class. You can't ask them to perform something that you haven't taught them how to do. Or you can prove that they know how to do by having been taught from somebody at some time. You don't always have to have your method be the prerequisite. So like when I do fish classes, the prerequisite is any 2-day carbine class. You'll have handled a rifle enough, and most any of those, well enough to come take fish 1. But fish 2, you have to have fish 1. But the point is, we pick a spot and we work our way backwards from it, teaching everything that they need to do. So then you're like, all right, well, if I want to do this drill and there's a reload in it, I have to teach them reload sometime prior to that. Obviously, like if it were a pistol drill, you're like, hey, they have to have a gun in their hand to shoot the drill. So I have to teach them way back at the beginning how to get the gun into their hand. Oftentimes, and this one's kind of like an offshoot. I've thought of it one way, then I do it a different way now, but neither one are necessarily wrong. They're just different methods to get there, like malfunctions. Well, if they have a malfunction during this thing, I want them to be able to fix it. So I got to teach them malfunctions prior to that. And like before you teach them malfunctions, you need to teach them how to reload the gun, because there's likely going to be a reload in the malfunction clearing. And I know guys like, there's no reload in a tap rack bang. And if an instructor put the work in, they'll know that if you don't use dummy rounds and set up failure to fires on purpose, type 2 and type 3 malfunctions, which I view as the same malfunction, there are one extra thing inside the action of the gun that needs to be there. Whether that be a stovepipe or a double feed or whatever, there's still an extra piece in there. At some point for both of those, a magazine comes out and has to go back in. So now we need to teach how to reload the gun before we teach the malfunction part. So you pick a goal where you want them to be at the end, and then you work your way backwards. I guess that isn't even the macro level, because the macro level would be your whole curriculum. Where do you see a student who has done all of it? Where is he at? So then you have to go, oh, well, I have to teach a class on this. in that class are these skills. So I have to teach the skills in that class. And then in that skill, there might be a couple of techniques. So we're going to have to do each technique and when it is applicable. So the key is to pick your ending point and work backwards. Sometimes you might pick an ending point and go, oh, I've bit off more than I can chew, and I can't teach everything to get them there in my allotted time. Okay, well, now you need to go back somewhere before that and pick a new ending point so you can squeeze it into the amount of allotted time you have for a class. The answer is not, well, we'll just run a 17-hour class. Some instructors, they're like, I want them to be here, and we'll just stay here until we get to that spot. The problem with that is it doesn't take a whole lot of research or experience into adult learning to go, hey, I'm going to lose them at a certain point. Like they're going to stop learning continuously at some time. They're going to need a large break to digest things and rest the old mind, which tires out way quicker than the body does. If you come back from the range and you're physically exhausted, like your shit hurts, you probably stopped learning way before that. So there's a downside to we'll just stay here until we get it. It is that doesn't always work. So then you might have to say, hey, that's the third day of class, and I need to pick a new endpoint for 2 days of class. And that's not fucking rocket science. It isn't something that Gary Marr created. The endpoint thing, I'm pretty sure that James always talked about in the tactical instructor class. I learned that from him, but not in that class. He had told it to me years and years before, almost probably 8 years before I took that class. He told that to me in a conversation. And when it comes to like adult learning things, I did I don't know, 60 or so. I guess I'll call them micro classes. They were remote learning classes from Ohio State University on adult education. I did those while I was working at the college. And so there was I got a lot of information on how adults learn through that, even though it wasn't anything to do with gun stuff. 72-hour level 1 pistol classes cause dangerous students. Indeed, they do. You can't keep a dude mentally engaged long. Like they need a break. And what some instructors choose to do is they just have one block of instruction, and that's their 8-hour class. So whatever their thing is, they just do that one thing for 8 hours, because what will happen is when you start losing them, you're not asking them to do something new. They just stop getting better at the one thing that you were teaching. So it is one method to, especially if you're not very good at reading your students and being able to adjust, or being locked into your curriculum that I have to teach these 14 things today. And even though I lost them at, the 10th thing, we're going to do the other 4, fucking learning be damned. That's a point where you should be like, hey, we're going to alter the course here a little bit. I know when I was at Tactical Response, there was a lot of times we had heat issues. Everybody got every block of instruction, but sometimes we would move things around so that we weren't losing dudes due to heat. There are times that we did the seminar for fighting pistol on the afternoon of day 1 so that we could be back on the range during the cool hours of day 2. And then we were in the air conditioning in the afternoon. So, it was well-known instructor, 72-hour class, 2,400 rounds in 3 days. I don't want to trash talk anybody's methodology. I would not be the ideal student for that. Most of the people I know would not be the ideal student for that. There might be the perfect students out there that's the thing that they need. It's just not this guy. I am much better in small blocks, and I'd rather take. So let me see. And I know it's 72-hour class. It's probably not 72 hours of class instruction, but like 3 days worth of class is my guess. Correct me if I'm wrong. But I'd rather have all my classes in 4-hour blocks with a week in between. Because what I'm going to do in that, I get 4 hours of instruction on something. I will spend the days in between. Like if we did it every Saturday for, however many Saturdays that was, the week in between, I'm going to fucking dig deep into that 4-hour block of instruction. The problem is when you add all of that shit at one time, when you go to work on it later, it's easy to have an oversight on some of the things because there was so much crammed in there. You better take good notes or the handout should be very good. And I got to say, a lot of instructors don't have handouts, and then there are the ones that do. Some of them are good, and some of them are just it's just the bullet points of the blocks of instruction. Those will be good enough to at least remind you, but it might not have the details of each block that you're like, hey, what was the idiosyncrasies of this? And I didn't take good notes because I was fucking busy. Because sometimes, like, you're trying to get your shit together to do the action stuff, and like my notebooks sitting on my tailgate or over at the picnic tables where we were talking in between the blocks, and I didn't have all that. I didn't run back over there to write it down. I thought I would remember it, and I didn't. Adam says 1 day class with a group dinner is awesome, and I agree. Here's the problem with a lot of folks in the training industry: they are very aloof, and they don't want to mingle in a personal setting with their students. I have found that a lot of them come from a very official background, military instructors or police instructors, where that was frowned upon. Like, you don't fraternize with the students. But out here in Joe Citizen world, like, we're all just people. So it's okay to like have dinner with your students. And you can leave that whole, I am their company commander, and I can't show them that, we can't go out to dinner and have a good time. Yeah, that's not a thing here. So leave that somewhere else. Joe says he loves a good handout. Well, you'll be glad to know I have mostly a good handout. 2 of them, even. 2. Actually, I have a third handout, and that third handout is actually the really good one, but it's only for role players at Adeptus Pistol, and it is how to role play for my scenarios. That's the best handout I have. Unfortunately, it's only gone to a small group of people. Oh, Gabe asks, I'm going to give you a link too. You just got to give me a second to dig it up. Gabe asks, what sling is on? Nate says, when did we get handouts? If you've taken dynamic carbine or dynamic pistol, you got a handout. If you didn't take those, sorry. Let me get you a link, Gabe. I got you all sorted out here. So the sling back there on this guy, it is a prototype, but the regular one is for sale. So let me, fucking stupid thing. I hate running computers. We'll do a search over here. Here we go. Oh, nope. That was, I clicked the wrong thing. So that is the GBRS second best sling, but it's the Goobers Doobers version. And It's been modified by a very well-known Stitch bitch in the tactical gear community who did not feel that he should be named in it. But we've added 2 modifications to the GBRS sling. One on the tab to make it more rigid, and on the padded section, there is a row of webbing for attaching a sling duber, and it comes with a sling duber. These are made specifically to be sold at Ammo Supply Warehouse, today's sponsor. I will give you a link to that. There, that is it in wolf gray. There, all the colors are over there. Remember, if you spend at least $100 and use Tremis10, you get $10 off. The sling may seem expensive, but the Goober sling is what it costs. There is the cost to ship them to the gear guide to get them modified, and the cost of a sling duber because it comes with a sling duber. So if you add all that together, it's a pretty average price, but that is the recommended sling for that rifle. And it's the one that's on there. That's an AOR1. That was a limited edition thing from GBRS, so you might not be able to get that. They actually made them an AOR2 as well. That was even more limited edition. I got a few of those floating around here, but I know you can't get those. So hopefully that answers your questions. All right. Going down here. Steven said the best one ever is probably the sling. Yes. Adam says he'd like to role play and see the handout. Yes, you would probably be an awesome role player. I would. I know you've role played before for tactical response. So if I needed a role player, I would absolutely bring you into the fold based off of your history, and then let my more senior role players coach you up to be leading role player. Garrett says it's been helpful to review, condense, clarify, and update notes each night after class. Been helpful to my notes, along with writing down questions to bring back to the instructor. Now that's the sign of a good student. What I don't often see is people being good students. So you're the anomaly there. When I go to a class, I don't bring like a notebook usually for notes unless it's a seminar style class, like where we're going to be sitting in a classroom. Otherwise, I do like Write in the Rain notepads in my pocket so I can have it out on the line with me and can literally like put my gun in the holster or let it rest on the sling, get that thing out, write some things down, throw it back in my pocket. Notes are the best part of taking a class, and it's the most overlooked part because that's the part that's like work. And oftentimes students come to class because they want to do the part that's fun. Gabe says a Midwest sign would be a nice addition to the wall swag. Yes, it would. And you know what's weird, Gabe? The last time I was at Midwest, I saw those signs over on the counter. I was like, oh, I got to tell them I want one of those. And that was before we went and filmed the video about the rifle. And by the time that was done, I forgot all about that fucking sign. Next time I'm out there, I'm going to bring one of them signs home. I do have some new Midwest industry stuff here at well, no, not at the house. Kind of here. So I got some Midwest Industries parts in the mail last week. Pete hooked me up with some stuff. Thank you, Pete, for sending that. Thank you, Troy, for making them. And all the other fellas there. Like, I really don't know a lot of them. Sean, and then a bunch of other dudes. Oh, is it Joe? Is there Joe? Anyway, you get the point. I have the 1301 4 end in stock. They came in last week. I dropped them off at Susquehanna Valley Firearms to get Cerakoted. So my pump shotgun, Mossberg 590, is matte nickel plated hard chrome, whatever. It's the Mariner, so it's the gray finish with black hardware on it. So the guys at Susquehanna, Josh there, wanted to Cerakote something for me, and everything I own is Krylon except for this new 1301. So rather than take all the gun apart and Cerakote the gun, we're Cerakoting the furniture since it's already off the gun, and we're doing the opposite colors of the pump. So the pump is like hard chrome and black. This is going to be black with a silvery hard chrome style Cerakote on the fore end and the stock. So I actually dropped off the Midwest parts last week, and I took them the Mossberg so he could color match the Cerakote to as close as he could to that, so that they'll be like polar opposites, black and silver, silver and black. The parts are done. He finished them day before yesterday, and I'm going to pick them up from them on Saturday, bolt them onto that 1301, and you'll see some pictures. Oh, Tom, that's a great idea. Going back to the notebook and adding notes from time frames later. I'm going to steal that idea from you. Hashtag proprietary molecules. I know bulletin.net has some little notebooks that you can purchase from him, and that would be perfect for that kind of thing. There's my plug for my pals. Somebody asked me, wait, did you and Mike have a falling out? I don't think so. Recently, no. And we pretty much don't, because Mike's the dwarf whisperer and calms me down whenever I'm about to lose my shit. Like, well, he's teaching on his own. I'm like, yeah, like that was an offer from day one. Like I was just going to pimp his shit back when he wanted to do a radio class. And we just figured it would be more people would know about it and show up if it was a Tremis Dynamics class. That's all. Now he's doing it under 0 point, and I couldn't be happier for him. In fact, he was on here last week talking about it. He was way late, but he was here. He just didn't see the memo, I think. I know we've been talking about good training stuff this time, but here's the problem. I got shit I have to do tonight, and I really need to go put on all the cool guy gear and throw shit, expensive night vision stuff and rifles in my truck and skedaddle on out of here. So I don't have a whole lot of more time to talk. But before I promise, did I do the link for the sling? Did I? Yes. Okay. I'm gonna look at the calendar and make sure there isn't some sort of fucking weird ass thing next Wednesday, because I might move it to Thursday again, because isn't New Year's Day? Let's do Thursday next week. I mean, New Year's Eve, that would be a terrible time to do a live stream, because people are fucking going and having fun doing shit. But New Year's Day, I have shit planned for that evening. So let's do the 2nd. So next Thursday, we will do another live chat. And that one we can run a little late if you want, because I don't have anything planned that night, unlike tonight. So with that, I'm going to get the fuck out of here. You guys get the fuck out of here, and we'll talk more training stuff, and maybe we'll figure out. Maybe next week I'll have a date for the instructor class too. That's going to happen. I've been working on it since 2018, so I guess it's probably finally time to run that out. All right, so I'm going to get out of here. You guys get out of here, and I'll see you all later.